Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to start the third segment of Jake the Snake. Um, it's been a little bit delayed, but I am feeling better, and I am hoping to gain some extra views this time around. Um, please share and follow my podcast channel. So we're going to start out with some sports. I am a little bit behind again on this, but the Packers announced that they were going to sign running back Darius Jackson. Um, that was after they had signed linebacker Corey Toomer earlier last Monday. They took the spots of wide receiver Jake Kumaro, who went on IR, and the cornerback Herb Waiters, who was released. Jackson joins Jamal Williams and Ty Montgomery in the Packers' backfield until Aaron Jones, comes back in Week 3. Jackson, a sixth-round pick in 2016, has not carried an NFL regular season game yet due to his injuries, and he had a crucial knee surgery last season. He is looking good though, and after watching last Sunday's game, he seems like he's gonna add a little bit of impact to the squad. On to the topic of Sunday's game, though, the Packers had an amazing comeback in the second half. They just couldn't seem to really get the last few yards every time on offense or move the ball in the first half. But in the second half, they really brought their A game and turned the whole game around. Uh, I laughed at the interview. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but Rodgers' second half after the game interview, he was looking pretty loopy. It was quite hilarious, actually. Um, but on to the more serious factor in that he is questionable this week. McCarthy says that he's not sure if he's ready. Rodgers says he wants to play, but it's all going to depend on the training staff to decide whether that's an actual option or not. Along with that, Devontae Adams is on limited playing time right now, but he does seem very confident in playing this Sunday. He came back and practiced a little bit, and then they had put him back on to just shorter and much less intense practice. So he seems confident in playing. He's another one it's just really going to depend on the training squad to decide whether they really want to risk him getting injured more, or if they want to rest him and make sure he's fully recovered. Along with that, in the latest controversial news in the NFL, Nike and this whole Kaepernick commercial and ad that's been out there right now. It's a whole bunch of nonsense. The NFL is angry, in my opinion, and the Nike brand is supporting equal rights and supporting the right to stand up for what you believe in. And it's just kind of sad, in my opinion. If you're standing up for the rights of Americans and people in general, the NFL really shouldn't have much to say or try to get involved. The co-founder of Nike once said, "Let everyone else call your idea crazy, but just keep going. Don't stop. Don't think about stopping until you get there, and don't give much thought to where there might be. Whatever comes, just don't stop." His deal, Kaepernick that is, was initiated in 2011, and it slowed down in recent years, but he wasn't forgotten, and he was still in top 50 jersey sales all throughout the years, even after he took that knee on the sideline during halftime, or I mean during the national anthem, sorry. And with his new deal to unveil, Nike is planning to add a whole clothing line and shoe line. They say that just because he is frowned upon by the NFL doesn't mean that the equal rights groups and people in America have liked him any less, although there are that group of people who was upset with his decision, doesn't mean that he was necessarily wrong in his actions. Um, Nike mentions that he's going to become one of their great icons this year, and he represents a very unique culture and a very affirmative culture that Nike wants to continue to monetize as they grow and develop as a brand. Uh, and Kaepernick, after the whole incident, tweeted that you need to strongly believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything, which clearly he did and is still being criticized for today. So it really shows that he believes in himself, and whether he has the support of everyone else around him, he knows that he is still going to be successful no matter what. Because if you put enough faith in yourself, no one is ever going to be able to stop you. They might be able to slow you down, but you'll never be able to be stopped. So we'll move on to some food and recipes this week. So I found this really good recipe. I'm actually going to try it tonight or tomorrow. It is a vegan dish, but it's not too vegan-y. It seems like it's going to be delicious in my opinion. I couldn't find the name of it, but it's a potato dish, so I'm just going to call it potato mashup, I guess. um, what the recipe calls for is 2 pounds of potatoes, 4 large zucchini, 4 small red onions, 6 ripe tomatoes, a half cup of olive oil, and 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley, and just a little bit of salt and pepper garnished over the top and mixed in. You heat up your oven to 400 degrees, and then you take all your thinly sliced potatoes, zucchini, and onions, and you put them in a 9 by 13 baking pan, and then you dump your olive oil in and stir that all up. You can also add some peppers, that's what I plan to do at least, to just spice it up a tad bit more. Um, and then you put that in the oven, and you stir it about every 20 minutes and cook it for about an hour long. And after that first hour, you really want to stir it another time or two and then cook it for an additional 30 minutes and let it crisp. And then your dish is done. I haven't tried that one yet, but I do have all the ingredients purchased, and I am planning to chef that up either tonight or tomorrow, like I was saying, for a lunch or brunch meal, maybe. Along with that, we'll move into the business news that I found interesting this week. Um, the Trump administration is boasting about how the American household and average income has increased this year, and how that's going to be a huge topic in the next political debate for the parties to take sides upon. The income of the median American household has finally rebounded from the 2008 financial crisis. The median household income right now in 2018 is $61,372. That is a slight increase in the past few years. In 2015, it was at about 5% less than that. And just between 2017 and 2018, it raised another 2%. That doesn't really seem like a big percentage jump, but when we're talking about double digit numbers like that, that adds up pretty quick, and it really does affect the extra spending money that households have to go enjoy their free time. Although it's still nothing compared to the inflation rate and the problems with all the economy, but we can't really do much about that. Along with that, though, the details and some reporters raised questions about whether the middle class has experienced an economic lost decade or not. And are we likely to keep seeing the income gains, or are we simply just going to tread water with the gains of income to the rising rates of inflation. It's almost like it's a lose-lose situation. Sure, we've went up 5% in the past 6 years, or 3 years actually. I guess 3 years. So we went up 5% in the past 3 years, but how much has the inflation rate risen in that same amount of time? They don't really want to talk about that side of the story in the news. They just want to tell you, oh yeah, we've got this great increase in our average income. But when you raise inflation just as much, you don't gain any money. You're just sitting in the same spot with the same amount of money. Um, the sad part about that though is in those past couple years, the rich have gained over 7% increase in their wealth. So they've gained an extra 2.5% over the middle class, and clearly they don't need that money. They don't even know how to spend $40 billion a year now. Why do they need an extra billion or two every year? Along with that, though, the poverty rate has also dropped due to this. It's dropped about 0.5% over the past 2 years, but that equaled out to a rather large number. I forget what that statistic was, but it was a pretty significant increase in the, or in ooh, a pretty significant decrease in the poverty rate. Um, and like I was saying, this gives a huge opportunity for the political parties in the next election to debate over, and I'm sure they'll be talking about how the Trump administration raised the average household income, but we'll see if they talk about the inflation rates and the tariff rates and all the taxes from the incoming goods and services from foreign countries. I'm sure they'll forget to add those into the aspect when they're talking about the average household income. And then we'll move on to a more devastating factor of the worldwide weather and this hurricane that's, excuse me, coming across the East Coast right now. Hurricane Florence is striking the East Coast, and they were kind of surprised it wasn't as dominant as they had expected it to be. It's still a very dangerous and very powerful storm, but they were expecting it to be a category 3 or 4. And as it got closer to the coast, it had slowed down a little bit. It when it hit the coast, it was only a category 2 with over 90 mile per hour wind gusts in the initial front of the storm. But in the eye of the storm, there were winds up to, 190 miles per hour. So there's going to be a lot of severe damage and a lot of issues there that are going to need some assistance and help cleaning up those cities. But North Carolina really took the grunt of the damage, but it's predicted to receive about, at the minimal, 20 inches of rain with flash floods all over. But the worst part is all those states and cities north of there that didn't really, or haven't really got the whole storm, but are still in the path of the storm because no one's really sure if it's going to pick up or stay as powerful as it moves up and through the states. But hopefully everyone is okay and there's not too much damage done to keep everybody in line and help everybody get back on their feet there. Well, that is going to conclude this third podcast of Jake the Snake. It was a little bit shorter this time, and I will work on making the next one a little bit longer with some more interesting facts and stories. But like I said, I was just getting over being sick, so that was part of the issue there. Don't forget to check out my website for merchandise. I sell hats, t-shirts, beer koozies, or soda koozies, whatever you may prefer to call them, stickers, and drawstring bags. There are 2 different kinds of sunglasses, by the way. The website is www.chiefendesigns.com. That's CHIEF1N designs.com. And along with that, if you need to contact me about anything, my email is www or www. I'm all confused here. My email is CHIEFN designs@gmail.com. And I do answer all emails, whether they are constructive criticism or ideas or questions. So feel free to send anything you may choose. And can't wait to see you guys next time. Have a great afternoon.